Hi, how's it going? So today I have a mixed haul. I have a haul from, actually this is an unboxing from Book Outlet, and then I have a small haul from Barnes & Noble, and then I have another small haul from a local thrift store called Savers. And then I'm also going to show you guys at the end of the video the books that my daughter and I are currently reading. So I'm going to start. This is the unboxing from Book Outlet. So the first thing is I got 2 books for my husband. Actually, I'm going to give them to him as Christmas gifts, so I'm going to put them aside. But I want to read them too, but I didn't get them for him as a gift just for me to read. He's been having them on his list for a long time, so I'm not going to read them first or anything. I'm going to give them to him as a gift, and then eventually I'll read them. But let me just unbox everything, then I'll go over everything. Okay. You guys, so the first thing I got from Book Outlet is so this is book 2 in the I guess it's called the 7 Wonders series. This is book 2. This is 7 Wonders Lost in Babylon by Peter. This is his last name, Lerangis. And I know nothing about this book other than it's a book that my daughter is reading, and this is part 2, and she anxiously wanted to read part 2. I don't think our library had it, and I was happy to see that Book Outlet had it. And all I can say is that it's very much fantasy, and that's what she likes. And it's about a quest and Lost City. But yeah, so this is book 2 of the first one. Okay, so this is middle grade, and this is another middle grade, but this is for me. I'm gonna read it first, and hopefully if my daughter likes it, she'll read it too. But I got it for me because it's by Mary Rose Wood, and she is the author of The Incorrigible Children of Ashton Place. And my daughter is actually reading book 1 of The Incorrigible Children of Ashton Place. This is a series. I have 6 books. I actually did a whole video on it because I read the entire series middle grade by myself, and I really loved it. And it's very quirky. And so this is the same author. It's totally different book. And so let me read a little bit. This is Alice's Farm, A Rabbit's Tale. I know nothing about this book other than, what the cover shows and the author. When I love an author, I want to read everything. I want to try out, all of their work. So this is when a new family moves into Prune Street Farm after 2 years of the place sitting empty, Alice and her fellow cottontails aren't sure what to make of it. The new owners are from the city, and they have 2 kids and a dog in tow. Rabbits and dogs don't get along. The Harvey family means well, and soon Alice and her crew understand they will be safe on the farm. Until she overhears a plan by a developer to run the Harveys off the land and bulldoze the farm. Alice, who has never considered herself a hero among rabbits, comes up with a plan to save the home, helped by other animals and the farmer's son. So it sounds like a classic story about animals and friendship and people, so I'm going to definitely try it out. Yeah, and it's brand new, I believe, copyright 2020. So let's see, so this is another one, middle grade. This I got from my daughter. Pegasus Olympus at War. This is by Kate O'Hearn. Same thing, this is book 2. She's completing the series, and she really loved book 1 of this series, and so I got her book 2. And then I wanted to start adding more classics to our collection, and So that was part of my motivation for shopping on Book Outlet this time. I really wanted to find like a lot of classics. I didn't find as many as I was looking for because we own some, you know, also. But anyway, so these are the 3 I found for me and for her to read. So The Princess and the Goblin, never read it, by George MacDonald. This is, like, you know, a classic story. I never read it. I like the little illustrations, the black and white. Looks like woodcuts maybe. So I know nothing about this book other than it was included on like a lot of lists for classics for kids. And of course it's about a princess has discovered a secret winding stairway in the castle. A labyrinth. Sounds like, you know, fancy, and I think my daughter will like it. And then this is, you know, of course, I don't really need to talk about this, right? Everybody's familiar with Robin Hood, but neither one of us have actually read the book. So I'd like us to read it. And this is The Adventures of Robin Hood by Roger Lacerin Green, or Lacerin. I'm assuming, I'm not sure if these are original illustrations. I know this is like a very old book or not. Regardless, I do like any illustrations. Let's see, because I know some are like retellings of classic. Oh look, they have all the other ones. Puffin classics. Some are like retellings, some are like original. Whether we get to this in 4th grade, I mean, yeah, we're in 4th grade now, and this isn't necessarily for us to get through in 4th grade, but I just want to start building our collection. So 4th grade going forward, I'm having her rotate classic literature now, you know, with stuff like this, which more modern fiction, because I just, you know, everyone references classics because they've been around for so long, so I just want her to have the references and stuff. So yeah, so just accumulating them. And then this one is, I'm not sure if it's like high school age or adult, so this one's definitely not something that she will be reading anytime soon. Not that anything's wrong with it, but it's, I know it's not like marketed for, I don't think, like for young kids, because the age of the protagonist, you know, I think it's high school age or a little bit older. I forgot. I read this so long ago. I want to reread it, and I just wanted to add it to our collection. It's just a classic. I know a lot of times, I think for high school, it's like required reading in like actual like public schools or private schools, whatever. But so she'll get to it eventually, but definitely not this year or next year or anything like that. But the point is, I want to reread it. Okay. Now the last 2 from Book Outlet are the ones I got from my husband. This one looks like it got damaged in shipping, but that's okay. Still readable. Okay, so both of these are by Howard Bloom, who was a, let's see, I believe he was like a Harvard, Yale professor and a professor at New York University. Okay, so he wrote a lot of books on like literary criticism and stuff like that. And so this is the Western Canon, the books in schools, School of the Ages, and then this is How to Read and Why by Harold Bloom. I already cited it, sorry. Okay, so I want to say, I thought, so my husband, I'm giving these to him as gifts, but they've definitely piqued my interest. And yeah, I think How to Read and Why is more about him referencing like books that he likes and things like that. It's not literally like how to read. Jane, like he talks about Jane Austen, Emma. So anyway, I'm gonna give these to my husband for Christmas as part of his gift. Yet I'm gonna be anxiously awaiting. I'm not gonna read them first because there's like their gift, but I will read them after him. And then this is a Western Canon. This is just a really good guide for a lot of works, and that is classic literature in the West that I want to read myself that I haven't read, or that I definitely want my daughter to read when she gets older. And he talks about all these different works, you know, and authors that he really likes and things like that. And I'm not sure if it's like, it might be excerpt, like part, I don't know if he puts part of their work is printed in here or not, or if he just talks about it, but like here's he's talking about Shakespeare. But yeah, Walt Whitman, just all these different people, poets and authors that he thinks are very valuable to everyone as a reader. So yeah, so that's everything from Book Outlet. Now more with the new books. These two, sorry, now I have little cardboard things everywhere. Driving me crazy. Okay, so more with the new books. These two are from Barnes & Noble. And this is another like sort of classic, I guess. It's on like a lot of lists. It won a Newbery Medal, and it was one of those books that I just never read when I was younger. The Witch of Blackbird Pond by Elizabeth George Spear. And let's see, it was printed in 1958. So basically, I actually read this for the first time this year. I rented it from the library, and immediately I really liked it. I really loved it. It's really, let me read the back a little bit. So, Kid has grown up on the island of Barbados, loved and pampered by her grandfather. But after his death, she must leave. It's not proper for a 16-year-old girl to live by herself. She's heard stories about her aunt and uncle who live in the colony of Connecticut. These are the only relative Kit knows, so alone and desperate she sets sail to live with them in New England. She's shocked when she meets the gray, she's shocked by the gray, damp landscape, but even more stunned by the puritanical lifestyle of her uncle's household. So, it's kind of like also deals with things like the Salem, like the Salem witch trials and stuff, not in the book, but like that time of where people were so paranoid and like accused women of being witches, obviously, and things like that. So she, that's why it's called The Witch of Blackbird Pond, because there's another person in here also. And it's just like that whole like Puritan thing. And I liked reading about that story of like the difference between how she was grew up compared to living with, like it says, her puritanical family. And they believe that she's a witch, and they believed her friend is a witch, and they also think the same thing of her. And so like it's about that, and it's really interesting because I'm really interested in that part of history because it's so bizarre, like accusing women of being witches, among other things in our history, but dark past. But yeah, so I thought it was a really good story, and I want my daughter to read it. This is Howard Zinn, A Young People's History of the United States. So this is a really interesting book on American history, and I'm planning on actually using this as like a curriculum for 5th grade. And I was so excited to get my hands on it early. I know I'm like really early, but I really want to read it first, and I really want to read the events that I reference in this book, of course, in American history, but that he chooses to focus on. And this book is told, let's see, let me read. Okay, let me just read a bit part of the back. So, young people have been making important contributions to history for centuries. Like the young child who helped bring written language to her Cherokee people. There are young laborers who, to the benefit of their peers, toiling in cotton mills, canneries, and mines, stood up for themselves with the National Child Laborers Committee's Declaration of Independence. And there's John Tinker, the high school student who fought all the way to the Supreme Court for freedom of expression at school and won. These stories punctuate the illustrated young adult edition of A People's History of the United States, which brings to light the viewpoints of workers, slaves, immigrants, women, Native Americans, and others whose stories and their impact are rarely included in history books. In presenting a radical new way of understanding American history, Howard Zinn reminds young readers that America's true greatness is shaped by our dissident voices, not our military generals. So I like how it's told from a lot, like the history of everyone. Really interested in using this for our American history spine. And I was really excited to see that they have the audiobook. So I think that's what we'll do, is we'll do the audio and then we'll read along with this, and then I'll add in some other books to go along with this. I was so excited to start this book that I even thought about like using it for 4th grade. Like right now we're using Curiosity Chronicles, which is like early modern history, but I kind of regret not doing more American history sooner because there's a lot of events she just isn't aware of, and this book I think will help bring those to light. So the next group is from Savers. And I'm going to link everything that I can. Hopefully, I think I can probably link everything. But it might be different covers and things like that. Because some of these are from thrift stores. So, yeah. Okay. So this is Artemis Fowl. Again, this is book 2. She really liked book 1 by Ian Colfer. And so, yeah. So she wanted to go ahead and get book 2. I'm pretty sure this is book 2. It doesn't say it, but I'm pretty sure it is. But she's enjoying the series, and I don't really know too much about it other than I know that it's very much like fantasy, thriller. It says thriller, fairy tale, science, even says like science fiction or fantasy. Lovers would like it, so it's kind of like that. It's middle grade fiction. And then the rest are classics, because I've been looking for classics. So these, like some of these like are a little bit for older kids, you know, like that's why some of these I'll be putting aside for when she's a little bit older, just depending. Like I don't even know if Sherlock Holmes is like written for kids. I know there are like adaptations for kids and things like that, but I just went ahead and got her this one. I thought it was like cute. I like old like vintage paperbacks, and this is just the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. And yeah, so I want her to read it. And I've never read Sherlock Holmes. So again, it's something that I don't know what age, like really, but I know it's like on like a million different lists of like classic literature for kids, even though, like I said, I don't know if it's like written for kids or not, but I will see, I will put it on her list of classics to read. And then this too, The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald, another classic. I never read it. I really want to read it. And I mainly got it for me to read, and then I'm going to put it aside. I think this is more of like high school reading and or probably written for adults, of course. But I still think she'll be interested in reading it eventually, and I got it for me too. But just another classic to add to our bookshelf. And then these two, of course, 2 more classics. To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. This one I'm not sure what the age group is. If it's like, I don't remember if it's like middle grade age or older. But this is another book that's pretty much on almost every list for kids to read. And she will definitely be reading it eventually. And I actually read this so long ago, I want to reread it. And then this is Mildred D. Taylor, Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry. This one I know is like written for kids, and I'm not sure again if it's like middle grade age or what, but or younger, but she definitely will be reading it. Let's see. Okay, so that's like the haul part, and then the rest of the video I have just like books that we're reading. Okay, so this is what my daughter's reading right now in her free time. This is Christopher Poloni. I think it's Aragon. She really likes it. And it's, you know, fantasy, a boy, a dragon, adventure. So she's very much fantasy, middle grade, I believe. It's either middle grade or YA, but she really likes it. And that's what she's currently reading in her for her personal free time. And then what she's reading right now for her like homeschool reading is actually The Incorrigible Children of Ashton Place book 1, and I didn't pull it for this video because she's actually reading it now. So while I'm making this video, and so yeah, so she's really enjoying it. I have a whole video on that if you want to check it out, by Mary Rose Wood. Okay, so 2 other middle grade that I'm reading right now. So I checked out Echo from the library by, let's see, I'm going to pronounce the name right. Try to get the whole name because it's kind of hidden. So the book is by Pam, I'm gonna say that wrong, but Pam Manoz Ryan. Okay, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but basically I'm about that far in, and basically it's like 3 stories, three 3 different stories like woven into one, I believe, and they all have to do with like a harmonica. And I'm not sure exactly how it's gonna go because I'm just, you know, this much through. The beginning like blew me away. It was so good. It was like even the way it's written, like about a witch and these like 3 sisters and a king, and very much like fairy tale-ish, but kind of dark, but then yet hopeful. But then it took a total different turn, of course, but that was like the point. And then it kind of, now it's more the story of this one boy that I got to so far, Frederic. I think it's, I don't know if it's pronounced Frederick or Frederic. And it's a little bit more, I don't know. It's not, it's like more realistic fiction based in the past, based 1933. So it kind of interweaves like what's going on like in Nazi Germany. And so it's a little more, I don't know. So I'm not sure if I'm going to finish it, but I think it's a really interesting book and I'm going to try it. Like my goal is to finish it, but it's just different than what I thought in the beginning. But I really want to find out like what is going to happen to those 3 sisters and things like that. I don't know. But I have a lot to go, but I wanted to show it because I think it's a very interesting book because it seems very unique because of the way it's told. It says, lost and alone in a forbidden forest, Otto meets 3 mysterious sisters and suddenly finds himself entwined in a puzzling quest involving a prophecy, a promise, and a harmonica. Decades later, Frederic in Germany, that's the section I'm on, Mike in Pennsylvania, and Ivy in California, each in turn become interwoven when the same harmonica lands in their lives. So I think it just started off so rich that I kind of got a little bit lost with Frederic. His story is just like way, I don't know, it's very sad, and I kind of was looking for something more like uplifting or whatever, but I'm sticking in because it might get that way. His story is not overwhelmingly sad, but it's just kind of like, you know, the subject matter, Nazi Germany, and then there's some things about him that people are mean to him for, and it's just like, so, but I think my daughter really wants to read it, and I think that's awesome because I was able to introduce it to her. But yet it's from the library, so I'm not sure if I'm going to finish it, buy it, or what. But I think it's a very interesting book. And like I said, this isn't like a review because I just started it. But I just wanted to show it because I think it's interesting. I just don't know if it's for me. But yeah. And then The Secret of Nightingale Wood by Lucy Strange. So this one also, like, I'm a little bit less than halfway through it, and in 1919, Mama is ill. Father has taken a job abroad. Nanny Jane is too busy to pay any attention to Henrietta, and the things she sees are things she sees in the shadows of their new home, Hope House. All alone with only stories for company, she discovers that Hope House is full of strange secrets, a forgotten attic, ghostly figures, mysterious firelight that flickers in the trees beyond the garden. So I really have been interested for a long time to read books by this author, Lucy Strange, and this is the only one that my library had on this author by her. And I have like a few other books by her bookmarked online, and so this is my first introduction to her. And again, the story, so I think it's like I'm showing it. I never show books that I don't think someone else would like or that are bad writing in my opinion. Well, other than the books I don't know about, like, because my daughter's reading this, so you know that's different. I don't know anything about this book other than if you have a 9-year-old child, they might like it. But like for me personally, when I'm reading the book, I won't show a book if I don't think it has like, it's like well written, but maybe it's just not for me. And this book, I'm still trying to figure it out. I do like the protagonist, and I think it's just also kind of depressing, and I've been kind of trying to avoid depressing books, but I just seem like I can't. So many books deal with topics like that, of course, because we deal with this in life. But anyway, like her mother's ill. I'm not going to say how or why to give anything away. And then, because it already says her mother's ill, but I'm not going to go into like why she's ill and stuff. Well, and then like, I don't know. It's just like, I'm kind of just like sticking it out because I'm interested in the protagonist, but yet I'm just not sure. But I think it's a beautiful cover. It seems like the author, I might like other things about her too, so I'm still giving it a chance. I'm like so rambly. Okay. The next book, maybe I'm going to, okay, out of order. So this is Great Expectations. I'm reading this. I've like been reading this for like a few weeks, and of course it's a classic by Dickens, but I never read it. And it's about an orphan being raised by his sister, and he doesn't have much in the way of great expectations between his terrifying experience in a graveyard with a convict and his humiliating visits with the eccentric Miss Havensham's beautiful but manipulative niece. So, I'm just got to I just started it, and the writing's like very, to me, it's not something that you can read, that I personally can read quickly, you know, because it was written so long ago, because a lot of words and things like that are like, you know, old, I don't know how to describe it. It's just not modern. Like, I love classics, but sometimes like they're harder for me to read because of the way that it's written, you know, like it's not like it just flows like a modern dialogue, which to me is like more simple or something. So it's like it takes me a long time to get through it because of just some of the ways that people spoke, the dialect or things like that. And so yeah, but I'm still really interested in it, and I think I really like that it's told. I really like the protagonist, and I really like how it's told from first person. And a lot of people say Donna Tartt's books remind them of Dickens, and she's like referenced a lot to Dickens, and that's really what drove me to read this after reading The Secret History. I did a whole video on her 3 books too if you're interested in Donna Tartt. Donna Tartt's my favorite author, and so I was like really reading so much that she was getting compared to Dickens. I wanted to know why. Now I see why. Because the writing is like so rich, and you're like so in the mind of the character and going everywhere with them and doing everything with them. It's just like very you're very connected to them. And the same thing with her writing. I can't read fast even though it's more modern. It's very dense, which is a good thing for me, I think. Detailed, and that's maybe the word I'm looking for. So yeah, I'm still going through it. And then the last 2 books are not something that I am reading, but it's something I'm currently finished reading. I just thought I would include these. I did show these on my Instagram if you follow me, but I wanted to do a quick chat about them because I'm not going to make a whole video on these. I do that for some books, but I'm not going to do it for these because they're so like popular right now. I don't know. I think that but I still want to talk about them in case for someone who hasn't read them, or if you have. So these are middle grade fiction, but I as an adult really like them. And this is A Wild Robot by Peter Brown, and of course the second one, The Wild Robot Escapes. So my daughter like read these years ago or a year or 2 ago, and I never thought about reading them. I don't know, I just didn't. And then I was looking for something uplifting to read because, like I just mentioned to you guys, I don't know, I've been trying to find stuff that's like more lighthearted, which is hard. And she was like recommended these to me, and I would say that they're definitely not dark and depressing, which is good. And they're very interesting. So it's basically about, it literally is what the cover shows. Like, it's like a robot that ends up living in nature and befriending all these animals and things like that. And like how the robot befriends these animals is very interesting. And then the relationships that the robot creates are very interesting. I was totally involved in this book. I was so excited knowing that they had a sequel. I was so happy that we already owned both. I would have like ran to order this one if we wouldn't have had it. Like, it really was a really nice sequel that wrapped up the story. And I really felt connected to this robot, as you do with good writing, because she was very humanized, and the animals, of course, too. And, you know, it's like she, even though she's a robot, it's like you care for her, or I did, and you wanted her to like succeed. And, you know, it's like has a lot of like adventure in it. And Roz is the name of the robot, and basically it's kind of like teaches you lessons about life and morals, and, you know, adapting to your circumstances, and how others adapt, and befriend others and kindness and like what it takes to have a community that works and things that she does. So and I really like the illustrations. I'm assuming they're digital, but they're very cool. This illustrator and John Klassen, I think, have very similar illustrations. I really love John Klassen. They're very minimalist, but yet they get the point across, and I like that. So I really love the pages with the illustrations also that went along with the book. So if you like nature and you like friendship stories as an adult or a child, I think these would make a really, really good read aloud. I think your child also independently, and you as an adult, if you like reading stories like that, like, you know, Charlotte's Web, and I don't know if I'd say Winnie the Pooh, but like Charlotte's Web for sure reminded me of a bunch of the Kate DiCamillo books. Like I just reread the Tale of Despereaux. Kind of reminds me of that a little bit, you know, things like that. Universal themes in literature. I think these could definitely be like modern classics. So yeah, so that's it, you guys. I really hope that you enjoyed the video, and I really appreciate everyone who likes, subscribes, and watches. Thanks so much. Have a good day or night. Bye.